All right, kick it.
Great. There's going to be a photo up there of me. It's going to be like, oh, man, look at Hilliard and this fat dude. Who the fuck is-
He must be Samoan. Tongan or some shit. Look. All right, I'm ready.
All right, fire away.
What's up, guys? It's Hilliard Guess, and you guys are listening to the Break It Down Show. Yeah.
And now, the Break It Down Show with John and Pete.
Our good friend, and he doesn't know it, but to some degree, our fearless leader, Hilliard Guess, with us this week on the Break It Down Show. So, we wanted to grab you real quick because we were popped into town. Mm-hmm. Of course, we want to see you every time we pop into town, but man, you are busy.
I am.
Man.
See my tired eyes?
Mm-hmm. Tired eyes.
Exactly.
I see your tired shoulders too, man. You are just, man, lean and mean.
You know, I'm one of those people, and you guys know, I'm pretty focused. Mm-hmm, you know, if I make my mind up on one thing, I do it. If I say I'm going to be a vegan, I'm going to be a vegan for life. You know what I mean? But I'm not.
You're going to rub that shit in, aren't you?
Okay, I'm a carnivore then a motherfucker, Jay.
Okay.
No, but really, I'm really stubborn. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I don't drink or smoke or do drugs and shit like that. So my whole thing is, if you say you're going to do some shit, follow through.
Yeah.
You know, that's just how I am. I try to follow through with everything. If I say I'm going to have a script for you by this day, I have it a day before. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's just who I am. I'm stubborn.
And you've been stubbornly working out like a motherfucker, too.
See, I got my shit here in the office.
Your shit right here in the office.
I don't be playing, Jake.
You be throwing them things around, too.
Exactly.
Brought the guns out and shit.
Don't tell nobody, though.
You know, we came up here, we were like, hey, we could go to Pink's after this. You know what? I'm gonna give me a
we gotta kill some time anyhow.
I'm gonna give me a foot-long jalapeno dog and have them smother that shit in pastrami.
See, that never even occurs to me. I drive by it every day. Never even, no. The smell of it, I'm like, oh, it just smells like grease to me. I don't know what it is, but.
Just for that, I'm gonna get some cheese fries.
See,
just to
what
spite
you're not smelling is the gravy.
Yeah.
That ain't grease. That's gravy.
Okay. The same shit they use every day. They just keep turning it off, turning it on.
As the saying goes, yeah.
Remember your mom just had that shit in a can, that big Crisco.
It just kept going.
She just keep refilling that motherfucker.
Yeah. That shit sat under the sink, too.
Yeah.
You know what? When you are preparing a meal and somebody reach under the sink, that should tell you something.
Yeah.
Well.
Down there where the roaches is and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the roaches, though, you huddled up in the corner going, I ain't eating that shit.
Exactly.
You're eating that?
You don't see me eating that shit. Mm-hmm. But no, man, you look terrific.
Thank you.
And the busyness hasn't stressed you out.
Oh, yes, it has.
No, it has not either.
Yes, it has.
Okay.
When you wear that stress well.
Thank you. But, I mean, I go to the gym to unwind. Mm-hmm. See, the problem is most people don't have anything to unwind to.
Right.
So it's food or it's something negative, alcohol, whatever it is. For me, it's the gym. But I do like supersets. I go in there quick, 20, 30 minutes, and I'm out. Mm-hmm. That's it. I don't do 2 a days. I'm not in there for 4 hours. I should be way bigger than I am, but I do 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll never be big doing that. I just maintain. So that's my thing.
Okay. So throughout all of this busyness, I'm going to stop talking about the workout shit because it remind me how fat
transition, man.
Yeah. Here we are in another direction.
Exactly.
Tell us the things you're working out. See, I even said working out. Damn.
I'm working out. You're working on, let's see, I'm going to see how many I can get here. You have your surf music documentary.
Correct.
Do you have that titled?
Yeah, it's called Full Circle, Story of the New Dimensions.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The New Dimensions.
Do you have a zombie script you're writing or have written?
It's already written.
Already written.
Mm-hmm. I turned that into the producers about 2 months ago.
Yeah. And
he said he was going to have that shit done 2 months ago, so he did it 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I turned it in on time, too.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You have your...
I'm doing the Black Wall Street movie.
Oh, okay, right.
That's another assignment I have. Mm-hmm.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, that's due in 2 weeks.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's
where I'm stressed.
I see. So let's talk about them in that chronology.
Sure.
Because you were in Sacramento recently shooting the opening scenes of the film, and you dragged Pete up there with you and put his
he fed me donuts.
Put his butt to work. So that film takes place in 60s Los Angeles, and you went to downtown Sacramento, a neighborhood that looks a whole lot like 60s Los Angeles.
Exactly. Minus the palm trees, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you weren't shooting those.
No, we were looking for a house that looked like it was like early 60s, 50s, style. Because the kids are very, teddy boy, surfer, kind of look.
Yeah.
So we found 6 kids to play, the original members of the band, the New Dimensions. And we were doing like an opening scene, which is going to be the opening credit scene. And I wanted it to be really cinematic. So we had the drone and we had all these, crane shots and, crazy things that we were doing. It's just basically the 6 kids all meeting together at one of the guys' house, who's this guy, Danny, who was the saxophone player. So the kid we had playing him, we established that it was his house. So it made it clear for the audience, that's his house. Everybody gathered to his house.
Yeah,
they
the
all
hub.
meet and they all walk down to the garage in this cool stylistic way. They go inside, start playing, and the garage closes, and we come up on the title credits. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was like one of those.
That's a
type
great opening.
Yeah.
Because you can't wait to see more.
Exactly.
Kick this garage back open. Let's see what's going on in there.
So I pitched to Pat, who's the executive producer. I said, what we should do? We should get the remaining guys, because 2 of them have passed away. One of them was Jimmy Greenspoon from Three Dog Night, and the other one was this guy Dave Dowd, and he was one of the original members, but he died a long, long time ago. And so I want to do this cool shot of the 4 remaining guys heading toward the garage in the exact same spot back in Sacramento, heading toward the garage in slow motion. So we're going to transition from the kids into them. So they're in their same positions that they were in.
Yeah.
It transitions into them, and then they open the garage, they start playing, and then the garage closes it to close the movie.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
That's cool.
So
Yeah,
they were like,
I love that
yeah.
bookend concept.
Yeah,
That's
because
cool.
we were going to do this whole big setup in Hawaii or the Bahamas or something with them on the beach and like a big concert type of thing. I'm like, wait a minute.
Let's close
This
this up.
feels right
Yeah.
being here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Keeping it small. It felt really Sundance to me, really Tribeca. We were trying to do, we were doing extra. It was too much.
Yeah.
So that's
Trying too hard.
that's the next thing we're going to try to do.
Wow. That's cool. What do you have planned for this film in terms of a shooting schedule?
Well, we've been shooting it for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
As you guys know, documentaries take a long time to do,
Yeah.
unless you have your subject that you're doing and you have your locations and everything set up, and you've done them. I think you've done them, haven't you?
I've
worked
never
on
done a
one or
doc.
something? Okay, I don't know why I
Yeah.
thought you worked on.
I watch a lot of docs.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm a documentary head,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, unless you have the subject that you're planning to film and the locations and everything set, I've heard of documentaries being shot in a couple months, but ours has been spread out over time because number one, the production company is in Sacramento. I'm here, and I'm the director and the writer and one of the producers. So it's been trying to get them here.
There's a lot of
know what I mean?
coordination.
Lots of logistics, which I'm really, really good at. So I'm always trying to figure out how to make things work in a way that makes the most sense, economically.
Maximize time
Correct.
and stuff. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, that's terrific. When do you anticipate shooting to be complete?
I'm hoping we're going to have maybe 2 more shoots. Like I said, I'd like to get the guys, the remaining members of the band back down.
2 more shoots, though.
At least two more shoots. I mean, I'm sure
Okay.
we're going to find some B-roll and some other things. We still haven't really done anything with them on the beach that much, so we're still thinking about doing we want to do like a bonfire type of a scene with all the guys sitting in a circle and like the beach in the backdrop. So we're thinking about doing something like that still. And then we still have some interviews with some other big, like they just did. I sent the director of photography to Washington to interview the last remaining member of the Ventures.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So things keep coming up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about doing a doc, and had we been done before, we never would have done the shot we just did last week.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I keep encouraging the crew and the producers. It's actually good that we're taking our time because it allows us more room sometimes to do things that we didn't even expect. That's going to give us much more production value, et cetera, et cetera. Now, it's not great on the guys because the guys are in their mid-60s and 70s. So,
You'd like to see it done.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like now, especially since they just lost Jimmy last year, so it's a
Right.
little sensitive for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, we're working without that much of a budget, even though we have a huge budget. It's like $500,000 for a documentary. Mainly that's because of getting all the rights to the music. And that's what's going to get us. So that's why we went up so high with that. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember what happened to Denny, Denny Tedesco, who was our episode 8, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
But
And he was on my show.
He was
Thanks
on
to you
your show,
guys.
yeah.
He's awesome.
yeah, he is.
Awesome.
He's such a great guy. But you are documenting a very specific trajectory of a band. And so, thankfully, that limits your exposure to that expense. But it's still a hefty expense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, that's great. It's nice to see that you're able to kind of digest the film as you're creating it, and that these things are coming up, and that you're able to go, all right, you know what would really add? And you know, it's almost like you don't want to rush the process. You don't want it to end, but I know you want it finished.
Yeah, I want to finish. But here's the thing, though. As a director and as a filmmaker, period, you have to be really good at adapting. You might get to the location and think you have it all worked out and scheduled and et cetera, and you get there and be like, oh, my God, I didn't even realize there was a tree blocking the perfect shot that I wanted, whatever it is. So now you have to adjust. So we got there on Saturday, and the guy who had the drone, shout out to Danny, he said, hey, Hill, I'm here for you. However, I need to leave at 11 o'clock. Well, I thought I had him till 4 o'clock. You know what I mean? So I had to adjust and re-switch all of my shots based around him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Get all the drone stuff
all the drone
first.
stuff down first. And actually, we ended up doing some things that I didn't even plan because he had an idea of something. You know what I mean? So sometimes those things come up, but being adjustable, you know, is something you have to be ready for.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, that sounds easy. You know, people go, oh, yeah, you know what? If the drone guy got to leave at 11, just take all the drone shots. There've been like 8 or 9 drone shots that you wanted, stack them up, and then you get the guy out of there by 11.
But it's not, because you remember you have 6 kids, right? And if you plan right, if you schedule right, you're doing it so that, okay, we're shooting this guy here. You know, this they all can come at this point, but this one's in makeup right now, so I could be shooting this person.
Yeah.
This person's doing whatever, so now we can get the 2 of them doing, you know. So all that's scheduled accordingly, but
It all
as soon
pushes
as you
all of that around.
as soon as you move one thing, it moves 5 other
Everything
things.
else, right.
You know.
And there was that one shot of the garage that you want to get, but now it's not 11 o'clock. Or now I got to shoot it at noon, and the sun's in a different place.
Correct.
Or
That's another thing.
all of that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you really got to be fluid.
You have to
I
be
don't-
very fluid. Go ahead.
I don't know if you noticed, but the chimney on that house is it's imminent.
It's funny.
It's going to fall. This thing, I'll show you, John. Like, it is going to
He
fall.
took a picture of it and put it on Twitter. What
did.
did you do to Twitter?
Yeah, I'm like, look at this shit. It is like there's a pole in the background of it, and it's leaning at least 20%. And so, like, that's just
And
one
there's
of
a
those.
zip tie up there somewhere. You're
It
looking
is.
like that. At some
Yeah.
point,
It was
that's
some
gonna
sort of
give.
like a metal band thing
Yeah,
around it,
something.
wasn't it?
But I mean, that thing's going. It's a bit, but that's the thing is like you don't know that going in. You know
Correct.
that someone scouts the site for you. You come there, and all of a sudden that thing does go.
Uh-huh.
You know, like
It's
that
possible.
changes. That's your whole day. Is
Yeah.
like messed up. You know.
Yeah.
Never mind that it's somebody's whole house.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
And
suddenly-
another somebody's house. It was a tall chimney.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah. And you're dealing with somebody going crazy because their house is destroyed, and by their next door neighbor's house, whose
Right.
also house is destroyed.
Don't mind us. We're just shooting a movie and all this madness.
Yeah. You know, when you say that there's a metal band around it, they make a metal band that's for that. But really what it's for is holding a water heater in place. You know that
Oh, they
reinforcement for
use
your
the same
water
thing?
heater?
Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah, that's what people used to do their chimneys. So that's
Interesting.
really, you know, your water heater that's made out of aluminum. And yeah, sometimes it's filled with water. But it's really just going to sit there, and that band isn't meant to hold it from running away.
Right.
It's just meant to hold. If there's an earthquake, it's going to shake around. That thing's going to keep it still.
Oh, okay.
It's not meant to hold a 45,000-pound fireplace and be strapped up like 2 stories in the air and shit. That's, yeah, man. I'm glad you guys got out of there safely. So, what about the zombie movie? What's the title of that?
It's called Man-Made Plague.
Mm.
And I'm trying to think how much of it I could talk about. Yeah, I guess I could talk about it. So that came to me. Producer came in here and pitched the project to me. I thought it sounded hella interesting. However, he wanted kind of like that Pride and Prejudice versus Zombies big. He pitched this to me. This is for the listeners to hear. I don't mind you guys hearing. So he pitched because he's really cool. So he's not like I'm gonna get in trouble or I have an NDA and all that shit like that. In essence, he pitched to me this. He said, a soldier, a zombie, and a a former soldier, a zombie, and a doctor get trapped in a time machine and spit out into the days of the samurais, and it turns into, samurais versus zombies. And I was like, okay, I see that big movie, and I just listened and I says, I'm not the guy to write that. And he was like, well, what do you mean? Like, you're the guy. I heard you, you love your Walking Dead, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I said, look, if I were to write that movie, I'd have to make it be set today. I was like, what if we kept that same premise today? And what if you showed him the picture?
Yeah, the chimney picture. There's no band on that thing. That thing's just sitting there. Anyhow.
Yeah, so I sat there and repitched to him for 15 minutes an entire movie
His
based
idea.
on that premise.
Okay.
But it all happens today.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this to him. After I pitched it to him, I said, look, I says, here's the cool thing about Japan and the Asian countries, Korea, Singapore, all those countries over there, the different places.
Right.
They have amazing actors.
Mm-hmm.
What if our two main guys are American?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else in the movie is Asian.
The places you mentioned not only have amazing actors, they also have gun control.
Aha. But here's the interesting thing.
Uh-huh.
Now, he pitched to me a whole army of samurais.
Yeah.
Guess what else is illegal? So is carrying a sword.
Oh.
So my guys are underground. There's only 10 of them.
Oh.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
I
Boy,
said,
that ratcheted up the stakes there.
It totally did. Imagine them going against a city.
I mean, army of samurais is cool, but you got to stay in the shadows, and
Yes.
there's only 10 of you.
And there's only 10 of them, and they all get picked off one by one,
Sure,
you know what I
right.
mean, et cetera,
Right.
et cetera. So I pitched it back to him more grounded. I said, I want to see 28 Days Later in Tokyo.
Yeah.
That's what I want. You know what I mean? So basically, that's our movie now. Same type of zombies, except mine have a little bit more ability. One of the things I always notice that scares me the most.
So you handicap the good guys by taking away the army and making them 10 dudes who have to remain in the shadows, and you ratchet up the powers of the zombies.
Yes.
Okay.
They're the kind of in between. I see them being between 28 Days Later and World War Z. They're that type of a zombie.
Yeah.
Right.
And what I wanted was, whenever I watch it, I'm a zombie head, right? The ones that I don't never see enough of, like I love, everybody knows I love Walking Dead, but my biggest criticism of them is they're inconsistent, right? If you decide that the zombies have a certain rules, you have to stick by the rules. Now, either they can smell you or they can't.
Right.
But on their show, they don't always quite smell them. They just go right by them if they're hiding behind a fucking trash can or something. You know what I mean? And mine, oh no, they're like what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And to me, see, it automatically
Yes.
registered something in you.
Uh-oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, so it's going to be even more harder for people to get
This
away
dude loves some tension, man.
Yeah.
if I add that layer. And then I added the layer of they can't see very well, but they can see because they have like UV rays, so they can see your heart spinning inside. They see the blood pumping inside your heart, and they see all that. So that's how they see you. However, if you hold your breath,
Aha.
they can't smell you.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? So I
Okay.
had to figure out all these different rules to make mine unique and to make them a little bit different.
Huh.
But they had to learn that, and it's in a place where zombies don't exist.
Right.
You know,
Right.
those are always the best ones. I hate when people call them zombies in a zombie movie.
Yeah.
You know,
You just built a learning curve for the good guys, too. They have to figure out what they have to do to avoid the bad guys.
Correct.
So this is also another technique that I love in a movie because you get so much more emotionally invested when you're like, figure it out.
Yeah.
Come on, man, figure it out. And it's one thing just to have okay, you got to figure out how to kill him. But you got to figure out how to outsmart him so you can kill him.
correct.
There's so much more in that. It's so much more enriching. What else can you tell us about that movie? Like how far along
They also
is it? And what?
they turn in like 15 seconds.
Oh
You
wow.
know? Yeah,
Fast.
I needed them to turn super.
And are they
They're
fast?
fast. They're fast. They're like World War Z and 28
Okay,
Days Later.
okay.
They're like,
Yeah.
but
They can move.
they're in real time. They're real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not like they can leap over buildings. Like that was one of my issues with World War Z is
Yeah.
they piled up like
Too crazy. Yeah.
It just looks so fake to me. Mine are it's all in real time and real.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're in situations where it really could happen. The only thing different is they're infected and they need to feed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's terrific, man. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
a
fun.
fast-paced, 95-page script. You know what I mean? And so I have a couple producers out looking at it right now. You know, we think we could do it for about $10 million, something like that. You know, to do it right, it's just full of action.
To do it right for $10 million.
And that's cheap.
That is
That is
really
really
cheap.
That's cheap.
I mean, you're talking about wielding swords. You're talking about
Yeah.
zombies that move fast.
Yeah.
You're talking about all the detail. Once you get into, the and now you got to do like small reactions.
Right.
That just piles
So we need
up.
actors. That's what I'm
piles
saying.
up
They
the
still have
shots.
to
And that
act.
costs money.
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm sure that a lot of them want to work over there. You know what I mean? And I love foreign movies, so I'm always watching these obscure movies that most people haven't seen. I'm like, who are these fucking actors that we're not even aware of?
Right.
Yeah,
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that was my plea to the producers. I'm like, guys, let's find these guys. Let's cast these kids. The other thing I have going on in the movie is so what happens is once the scientists and the soldier and the zombie end up inside of the time portal, they all have to and they land in Tokyo. They land in a big park because in Tokyo there's all those parks like all over, and they're kind of like what's the big one in New York? Central Park. It's like Central Park. And so they land there. The zombie escapes. They wake up and they're like, "Oh shit, we have to go into the city." They come over the city. They come over the hill and realize, "Oh shit, we're in Tokyo," you know. And then they go into the city. The zombie just starts spreading, and you just see it just
biting folks.
You know what I mean?
You can do that drone shot where you go up 200 feet and you go, oh shit, this is just
you ain't
spreading.
gonna make it.
And people biting.
Exactly. So once they go into the city, they go after the zombies, and we meet our samurai guys, and then we meet. Well, I have these group of 5 parkour kids who are like that Japanese street style.
Sure.
So they're badass.
Yeah, that's
but
fun.
The baddest one is a female, and that happens to be her father, who's the
That's
master
even more
sensei.
fun. Yeah.
So they all come together toward the end. Of course, everybody gets picked off, and finally the last few finally get there, and they have 12 hours to get back to the time portal to reset it, to get recollaborated back to where they were. So it's one of those type of movies.
That is fun.
Yeah.
That is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that was just all off my dome. I was just
And-
spitballing.
Now, this all happened while the dude's sitting there going, oh, okay.
I was.
Yeah.
I had a
Well, I
different
had
idea.
that idea.
Yeah.
And you did, okay, cool. So, how quickly does he react? Because
Well, put it this way. This
he
is
had
on
a great idea,
Mm-hmm.
but you just took it to a different place.
Yeah, well, I just said it more in reality, I think, really. It still has his premise.
Yeah.
The 3 still get stuck in the time portal, whatever. They get spit out in Japan. They're just spit out in Japan today. You know what I mean? Just happens today, and they got 12 hours to get back. Boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So it's not really as much a time portal as it is just like a
yeah. It just
wormhole.
shoots
and
you.
it spit them somewhere
Yeah,
else.
it just spits them out somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that's just easier to buy because, that movie where the kid was like a Cubs fan or whatever, and he got thrown into the medieval.
Yeah, that was corny.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't
I mean,
want that.
time travel seems like a cool concept, but nobody pulls it off to a degree where you get really, I don't know. There's that one Irish chick show. I don't remember what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to get lazy with it because it's the automatic fish out of water story.
Yeah. Sure.
Automatic. So now you're like in that realm, but that's not good enough.
Sure.
Like we've
It's
all.
easy to get lazy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what if we take this dynamic and put it with that dynamic?
Ooh,
that doesn't
yeah,
mean you've
that's-
got a good movie.
Right.
No. But if you keep somebody interested and make it a page turner,
Yeah.
that's the key. And
But what does that mean, though? I mean, I do that.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you go that next step and not be lazy and make it a page turner? 'Cause no one writes a bad movie on
here's
purpose.
an example.
Yeah.
Remember I brought up to you guys that they smell, and
Yeah.
you guys I went ooh.
Yeah.
So I know around this page I need a type of scene where we show an infected. That's what I call them in my movie. We show one of the infected do this. And now it's a new thing you didn't know they knew how to do. Now you're curious.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it allows us the opportunity as in the audience to go through the discovery process with our
Correct.
heroes.
You go on the ride, and you don't know the rules like they do.
Right.
So you got to learn. Remember, we all are locked into what we think zombies are.
Right.
So if I made mine's different,
Right.
now you got to learn my rules.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's
just establishing that one too. You go,
Correct.
oh, this is all different.
correct.
Hmm.
Correct.
Man,
That's my favorite part of like
that
the
is a
hero
great
stories, the
technique.
comic book stories.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't care like once the next baddest boss comes around for the sequel 3. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I already know what's going to happen. You're going to win. But I do want to see you discover your
Here
power.
comes Milky Eye.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, this guy's from outer space. He's really dangerous. You know, like yeah, who cares? But yeah, but that realization, you know, and like in Unbreakable, when Bruce Willis is discovering it, like that's where M. Night Shyamalan like messed it up. Like, give me more of that. Don't like, because then once that happens, it's like, oh, well,
Yeah, the movie's already over.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's unbreakable. This guy is breakable.
Mhm.
Hurry up. Let's
Correct.
get to the end. You know?
Correct.
Yeah, you summed that up
Yeah.
in a way that made me go, oh.
No, M. Night, come on.
So these infected, they smell breath. And if you hold your breath, then they have a harder time smelling.
They just have a harder time smelling. I mean, they can still see,
Yeah.
but like there's this really cool scene. I don't know if you listened to my previous episode I did, that we actually read one of the scenes
Oh.
in there.
Oh, no, I didn't read that one.
And, you know, Lisa and I used to do it all the time. We haven't done it in forever. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, let's do this kick. We did a whole thing about action, like how to write action. So I wrote this kick-ass scene in the subway between the main parkour girl and her ex. And he just got bit. She's on her way down the subway tunnel in the dark, and she's trying to light her lighter. And finally, once it lights, she finally sees a little spot of light, and she hears one of the infected screeching in the background, so she knows one's close. So she parkours up the wall, up to the rebar, and hides up there and holds her breath. And the infected comes by, and she looks down, she sees it, and it doesn't smell her, and it keeps moving. All of a sudden, she's about to climb down. Another one, she hears it, she climbs back up, and she looks down, and it's her ex. And she's like, oh, shit. But she breathes. And then we see the thing go and look up. You know what I mean? And it's this whole little scene between the two of them. They get in a fight, and the gun goes off, and it goes to black. It's like, who got shot? You know what I mean? But I left you there wondering, well, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened? And next time we see her, we realize something happened to her.
John and Pete.
Hey, everybody, if you like the Break It Down show,
I can dig it.
And of course you do.
of course you do, hit that subscribe button.
John and Pete.
It helps us out.
Hey, if you're going to like the show on Facebook or on Twitter, it helps us out if you share the show so people can learn about it. So liking it is great, sharing is even better.
Let's do some spy stuff.
Yeah, just
Let's
sneak
get
in
all
there.
our friends' phones and have them subscribe to the Break It Down show. Do it. Subscribe. Listen to the show. If you love the show, tell 5 of your friends. Or if you hate the show, tell 5 of your friends.
So, but it's just all about keeping you on the edge of your
Hill loves
of your
tension.
feet. I love. You don't have a
Yeah.
movie without tension.
No, that absolutely. That's the. You go on a roller coaster to fall down real fast.
Correct.
Yeah.
And this is what this is. This gives us the sensation that we love so much. The fact that you have these groups going at each other in a way that now has all these subtleties, you know, the sniff and the look up and all of that stuff. I just keep seeing your shot list pile up.
Well, I'm not directing it, so it's fine for me.
Yeah,
You
let
know.
them deal
Let
with
them
it.
Is there
deal
like
with
a
it,
running
you know.
time clock in the lower corner? Keep track of how much
I don't know. I
time's left?
mean, I don't know what they plan to do. I
Yeah.
mean, you know that what the time is because I keep showing it every blue
Oh,
moon.
okay. So it's there. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
it's there subliminally. I don't want
Yeah.
it to be like 30 seconds,
Yeah.
3 hours left and 20 seconds. I don't want it to be that. It's just
Yeah.
more so like we know, shit, 2 hours left.
Right.
Toward the end, I start heightening that up
Sure,
a little
sure,
bit
yeah.
because we know we're on a time clock.
Right.
You know, and we
You
see
haven't bugged us with it the whole movie either. You
No.
know, so now it's time. Oh, okay. Now
Yeah.
we're kicking it into gear.
And there's kind of a reversal where they thought they had 12 hours, and all of a sudden, by the time they get to the place to recalibrate, he's like, oh, shit, we have 36 minutes.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So there's a little reversal. They thought they still had more time.
Yeah.
So now it's a race to get back to the park. They have to get back to the exact same spot they landed,
Wow.
you know, in order to get there to the portal, open it up, and get spit back out, you know. And it's all about saving his daughter.
Sure.
His daughter was there at the research center. He took his daughter for like father-daughter day,
Father-daughter day, yeah.
but he's not supposed to. But
Right.
because he's the head security guard, he's like, I do what the fuck I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and he was showing off to his daughter. He doesn't get to see her all the time. And
Yeah.
then it just happens on this particular day. He did it on the wrong day,
Right.
you know. So they're in a race to get back.
Wrong day.
Wrong day. That's the thing,
Bring
though.
your daughter to work.
That's the thing, though. In every movie, you should ask yourself, why today?
Why today?
Why are we doing this today? You know what I mean? And when you figure that out, it'll answer a lot of questions for you.
Why today? That's a great question. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
So we've got the zombie movie. We've got the surf documentary. What else is out there?
So I can't talk that much about it, but I'm doing the rewrite on one of the Black Wall Street movies.
And
now,
more than one of those.
There's several.
Wow.
Why several?
Why
now? Why today?
That's a really good question. Put it this way. They hired me to do the rewrite on this script, and I'm doing a page 1 rewrite, actually. I'm pretty much starting over and completely. There's a few minor things in there that I'm keeping for the sake of an argument, but I'm completely rewriting the script. They announced ours, that we were doing our movie. They hired me to do mine, and then a week later, Oprah announced she was doing hers. She's doing like a 4-part movie of the week or something, and then
you mean
John
this lady,
Legend.
You mean this lady whose office is right over there?
Yeah, 200 feet away.
Yeah.
And then John Legend announced he's doing his like a day or so later. And he's doing one on WGN Network. And I don't know if he's doing a series or he's doing something.
It's like when there were 7 Joey Buttafuoco movies. Now came out at the same
It
time.
is like that. And you were like, yeah, she played the chick in the Joey Buttafuoco movie. No, that was not her. That was Alyssa Milano.
Yeah.
But
that was the other Joey Buttafuoco.
So here to answer your question. So I've told this story many times, and this is not unique to my story because I know he's told this story many times. I used to go to the coffee shop in West Hollywood, and it's kind of the whole gay mafia was at this one particular place. Right. I'm not kidding. From Dustin Lance Black to Bryan Singer, all those cats like that. And I used to always sit across from Lance Black when he was writing Milk, and every weekend he'd be out of town. He'd come back on Monday. I'm like, where were you? He's like, oh, I was working on Milk. And one day I was like, why are you working on Milk? There's like 2 other projects that I heard about that people were doing. Like you're hearing about Oprah and John Legend, right?
Right.
And he said, yeah. Now, I've heard him say this many times. This is my unique story, so I'm not taking the credit for this. But he said to me, yeah, but nobody's going to do it the way I'm going to do it. Like he was so casual and confident about it that I was like, wow.
That's right.
And then he said this, you got to be first. And I was like, that's what made me write my Sylvester script.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to just do it. I keep hearing rumors that other people are doing it. I'm going to do mine, make mine be the fucking best one,
right?
And let mine be the first one people produce. You know what I mean? So when this happened, the producers called me. They're like, Hilliard, so what do you want to do? And I was like, hey, I say we fucking keep going.
Yeah.
Number one, I didn't want to turn down that check.
Yep. Don't do that.
And 2, I was like, we keep going. I was like, I'm just going to write mine first. They weren't even written yet. They were just going into development. You know what I mean? So had they been written, I might have considered another thing,
Well, the other thing is, and you bring the quality.
Correct.
So that at some point you just take somebody's knees out from under them.
Correct.
This is terrible. This movie came out first. They are going into production already. They're going to finish before us. Not only are they going to finish before us, I've seen the script, and ours is a piece of shit.
Exactly.
That's what you want everybody to say. So it's just first and best.
Correct.
And it's not a race where once you're behind, you're going to lose, too, because you don't know what's going to happen. Someone might snap their Achilles tendon tomorrow and be like, I'm down for the next 2 months.
Yeah.
The chimney might fall over and be like, hey.
Just took out our 2 houses on location.
I got shit to deal with. I can't do that right now. Or whatever. It's 100 reasons
And people in L.A. get really excited about projects 1 month, and a month later, they're like, zombies are hot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Excited about something else.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not as concerned. It's not going to change the fact I'm still going to get paid for it regardless.
Right.
Because that's how my contract works.
Sure.
So I'm not worried about that. But I also know that as much as I'd love it to be done, the chances of it being done are so slim.
Yeah.
My job is to write the best fucking script for you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, at the very least, let's say none of those 3 movies get made or one of them gets made.
Yeah.
If there's anybody in town who will go, you know what? Yeah, that piece of shit got made. But there were 3 scripts floating around, and the best one in the group, that one did not get made. And why did we make this steaming pile?
Well, a friend of mine wrote the story of Bob Marley, I don't know, 15 years ago or something, 20 years ago. I mean, it's a script that got her all kind of other assignments to write. The movie never got done because they won't give her the rights to that story. Like, nobody wants to touch Bob
But
Marley.
it's a beautiful story.
Oh, it's so good. And so she used it as a sample.
Yeah.
My Sylvester script, you know how many scripts I've written because of that script?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's sometimes things are just a sample. You know, but if you wrote it from a passion place, it still reads on the page.
Yep.
People still feel it. They still
Right.
like, wow, dude, this thing is so good. If
I wish I could make it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's the best reaction. Is like, this is not my thing. I don't make these, but man, if I made these, I'd make the fuck out of this one.
Correct.
Plus, when you take that third person to come to somebody to say, let's make the Black Wall Street movie, and you're like, yeah, let's write that shit. It gets written. Like, that means something to somebody who's in the movie making business. You know, it's like, yeah, they got one, but I got Hill, and this thing's going to be done in whatever 3 weeks, and it'll be done in ours. Then I can do something with it, and that thing might be put it on a shelf for 2 years and wait. But but I know if I go to Hill, it's written, you know, and you've written it at a quality level that you would do, so it's going to be good.
This is probably the hardest script I've ever written.
Wow.
And I say that about every script almost.
Well, what makes this one?
The research I had to do. And this one, usually I write things in like a month. You know what I mean? Just because I'm fast and by nature. but
But
this
you're writing
one,
more that you know.
I did so much research before I even started on like what the outline was going to be, or you know who all the characters were going to. You know what I mean?
You had to understand how the shit worked.
Yeah, because the script, the original script, and this is no knock to the guy who wrote the original script. It just wasn't. It felt like a movie of the week or something. You know, and just an okay one.
Yeah.
You know. And what they wanted me for, they wanted me to come in and punch it up in a way to get stars to want to play in the roles. And for me, in order to do that, I had to just start over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's still a lot of moments that happen, but they happen in different ways. You know what I mean? I mean, our movie basically is Rosewood, you know, except in the end, they were bombed.
Yeah.
The only thing different is, in mine, they fight back. And they just get overpowered. You know what I mean? So what I had to do is find a way to make those characters interesting. In the original script, and this is, again, no knock to the person who wrote that, but in the original script, there was no, when the bombs started coming in and the Klan started killing all the black people, they were just killing random people. In mine, you know all of them. So that's what makes you feel.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, man, that's the dude who owned the barbershop.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
love
the
that
dude
I
who-
like that guy.
You know what I mean? That's what gets you. You know, just seeing some random person walking outside, you know, you might feel like, oh my God, they killed that little girl. But if you see, oh, that's the little girl who was singing at the beginning,
Yeah.
way more deeper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I wanted to do, was to find ways to hook you in so that you liked everybody in the movie, even
Yeah.
if they're bad guys. Even the bad guy has a wife, you know, and has a situation with her because she has like polio or something. So he's dealing
He's
with her.
got a
and he takes
motivation,
care
and
of
you're
her.
like, that, I can't stand
Exactly,
that guy.
you know what I
can
mean?
see
But
why.
I wanted to make him still be human, you know, despite the fact he's a bad guy, despite the fact he's a Klan, you know what I mean, and all that stuff. So, and he's the one who drops the bombs, you know what I mean? So, but he has a family that he loves and cares for, you
And
know.
we can all relate to that.
But he believes if we just get rid of these people, we could have all this, you know. So I wanted to make sure he was a human being too.
Yeah.
Tension.
Tension.
Always creating that tension.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tension, emotional investment, and payoff.
Yeah.
These are
Wow.
themes that we get throughout the show too. These are the same things all the time. We talked with Charles Quinn today. Same thing. He talked about how he moved people, and totally different process, but same kind of goal. Is you know, it took me a while to get to where my voice is now, but I'm gonna give you this emotion, you know, and then you're gonna go on a ride. You're doing the same thing. You're like, these zombies are gonna kind of look left, sniff, and you know it's on. Like that's gonna create an emotion in you. You can't help it.
You can't help it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's, you know, when you ask me what's a page turner, I mean, that's how you do it, through curiosity. And it's actually how you write it on the page too. Like if you look at my script, the bottom of my page ends on a cliffhanger. So you have to turn the page to see what happens on the next page. It's intentional. You know, but that's a it takes years to learn how to do that and do it correctly. You know, when I read scripts and people just have these big blotches all in their scripts, by the time I get to the bottom, I'm like, you've lost me
Yeah,
because
got
my
nothing
eyes
left
are
for
supposed.
this.
Your eyes are supposed to be smooth down the page, they're supposed to just flow.
Yeah.
You know, and if they don't, you're going to be bumped. You know, and if you're bumped, that's a bad
You're
thing.
giving people an out.
You give me an out. You're like, oh, I'm going to give him one more page, and then you're like, nope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Wow. You know what show I just recently discovered? House
that?
of Lies.
Oh, you just getting into
Just
that?
now.
All right.
I'm probably in the second season,
Okay.
but I love Don Cheadle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have the same birthday, so
I love it. So fast paced the way they
it
talk.
is
And
fast.
Mhm.
It's fast and it's smart. It's almost Aaron Sorkin-esque
definitely.
in the speed
Yes.
of the
Whoever
dialogue.
wrote that is definitely inspired by Aaron's, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed.
And it's, you know, it's smart, and it allows characters who don't always get to be smart to show how smart they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are characters in that show that are so like his ex-wife.
Yeah.
She is so damn sinister. You know, I wish she would die, but I don't wish she would die.
Yeah.
I want her to stick around because she is delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to be toyed with like that. We all do.
And his little gay son and everything. You
Yeah.
just cannot beat that.
This
Is she left-handed?
Oh, that's a curious question.
Is she what?
Left-handed.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember.
Left-handed goes back to a left, like sinister and left go together.
Right.
Oh, really?
Those things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people used to say
Right.
and sinister.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, like I wonder, like if the screenwriter thinks of that and builds that into the, you know, just to give it that extra thing.
Interesting. I never heard that before.
No, she is a bad bitch, though.
That's what counts. We like that.
Yeah. And, you know, as bad as she is, you still want her in the motherly capacity that she takes on in tiny little chunks because of how it affects Roscoe.
Okay.
I don't know what... I mean, I feel so toyed with, especially when it comes to her. Because she is so damn dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want her to go away, but you don't want her to go away. And
You
I
need
love
her
that, too. Yeah. I love that, too.
Yeah, but that's the tension.
That is
But
the
see,
tension.
that's the personal tension for
Uh-huh.
Don Cheadle's character, though. They needed that
Yeah.
because he's so good at everything he does at work.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
needed something at home to affect him.
Right.
You know,
Something's
that's
gotta fuck with him.
powerful.
Yeah.
You know,
And and yes, and they made it so that the stakes could not be higher.
No.
They made it about his about Roscoe.
Mm-hmm.
And really the fabric of his family is woven by his absolute enemy.
That's what's up.
Yep. So what
Black-
else do you want to talk about?
Yeah,
What
Black
can we-
Wall Street. Is there anything else?
I am producing some things
Hmm.
that are interesting.
Oh, is it
I
time
just-
to talk about
Yeah,
them?
yeah, we could talk about this one. I just produced this pilot presentation for Denise Harkavy. She's one of the writers on Queen Sugar,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
which is one of Oprah's shows, and Ava DuVernay. And it's about a female pimp.
Oh.
It's a very interesting world.
You've got John's attention.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a badass script. And it's
Wow.
from a female. She's like the female Tony Soprano. It's badass.
I can't wait to see that.
Badass. So it's in post now. I think they should be almost done the next week or two. I think they want to have it before Thanksgiving to go out to a couple of festivals and stuff like that.
Can you say anything about who's cast in it?
Nobody of note.
Hmm.
We hired a bunch of people who are just the right people for what we needed.
Yeah.
And nobody of note. No. But we have an award-winning DP, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
so it's going to look great.
oh,
It's gonna
it
be-
looks fucking flawless.
Yeah.
You know.
I almost want that female pimp to be Missy Elliott. You know, I don't know how she would do.
This is based on a real woman. She went to jury duty like a year ago and met this woman who, I won't say her name, but she had the same name as Denise. And that was a joke. And befriended her. They started hanging out. And Denise is one of those people who's really known for hanging out with you, getting to know you, and writing a story based on something she hung around you with. Like she's writing one now, a pilot with a bunch of what are they, pawn shop dudes, and they
Oh,
have
yeah.
but they're like really interesting. So she's writing this interesting pawn shop story.
Right.
So this one, she met this woman, And turns out this woman, she was at her house in the fucking hood. Turns out all these women are walking by in a skimpy ass outfit. She's like, what the fuck is going on? So she finally asked her, and she's like, well, not to tell you the truth. They're like, 3 years ago, I was one of them. My husband went to prison. You know, I have this little 8-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
And somebody had to pay the bills.
Right.
So
Needed to provide.
I became him. And she's a badass
So I
bitch.
put these hoes on the track.
She put them on the trap and trip. But she's interesting. Because she used to be one of them, she treats them like she would want to be treated.
Ah, okay.
So
this is real life night
this is
shift.
based on real shit.
Yeah.
401k, dental, all those things. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
She treats them right. You know what I mean? And I think she only takes half of their stuff.
Wow.
You know, as opposed to they usually give like, here's $1.
Uh-huh.
You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they actually have their own money and stuff like that. But she pays for all their medicals and all that stuff like that. But she's struggling. So guess what car they're driving in the movie? My Starsky and Hutch car.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
that is good.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it pays to choose the right producer.
Yeah.
I give you production value.
Yeah.
Man. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude. So I'm doing that, and then Architects of Crime, which is a sci-fi noir style film. We did a presentation of that, and so we're trying to raise the money to do like a $4 to $6 million feature on that. I think what else? There's another documentary I might be doing with my friend Pamela. That one is kind of based on well, originally it was going to be on the mayors. There's like over 500 mayors in the United States, and people don't know that. Black mayors.
500 black mayors
Yeah.
in the United States of America.
Yeah.
How many cities are there in the United States?
A lot.
A
I
lot.
mean, there's like, if you look at the major media markets, you're talking damn near 400 that are numbered.
Sure.
I mean, that gets you out to Billings, Montana, and, you know, smaller places than that. But that's just Billings. Like, there's 30,000 people in Billings or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a fuckload of towns.
Yeah, so we wanted to do one on, you know, how they work and, you know, the
Right.
controversies of that and all that stuff like that. So we want to do a documentary on that.
Okay.
Um,
What I'd be curious to know
Mhm.
is relative to the number of towns in the United States or the number of areas to represent, you know, is it proportionate to the population of black folks, or perhaps more interesting among them are the black mayors in predominantly non-black areas?
It's a really good question. I don't know. We're too early in the stages to know that type of a question,
Yeah.
but it's something I'm sure we'll figure out and cover. That's something that has been on my mind for sure.
Yeah.
But the story is kind of changing. You know, the more you go into it,
Sure.
the more the story changes. Just like,
The more it starts to tell itself.
yeah, it does. Just like,
I mean, if you got a black mayor in Gary, Indiana, hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
But
You
if
expect
you have
that.
a black mayor,
That's just-
yeah, in
yeah, it's just
Huntington
called-
Beach,
yeah.
how did
Yeah.
he get there?
Exactly. Well, it's like you say that because, you know, a lot of people ask me, and you got to see this weekend, Peter,
Yeah.
we were on the set, a very diverse crew
Sure.
who was doing this movie about surf music in the 60s, which was pretty white at the time.
Yeah.
You know, there were, I think, 2 or 3 guys in bands who were of color. One of them was the guy in the Pyramids, this black dude. We actually interviewed him. He's still alive. And so one of
And he's
the
black
reasons
and has great skin, so he looks like he's 37.
Yeah.
one of the reasons I decided to do this is interesting. One of the reasons I decided to do the surf film in particular, besides the fact I love 60s music, you guys know me and my mod stuff, right?
Mhm.
Is as a black person, right? Now I see myself as a filmmaker, but I'm realistic. I'm also a black person. I thought, how cool is it that the crew pretty much is minority, right? And here we are making a movie about surf music in the 60s.
Mhm.
The most unexpected. We show up and they're like, oh, shit. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
right.
Like, we haven't put a face on you guys, you know? And there's all these, you know, black people, and, you know, we have a few Asians, and all these people come, and they're like, oh, my God, like, what the hell is this? You could just see their surprise at first.
Wow.
And then they realize that we've done our research.
Yeah, and that
You
you
know what I
really
mean?
know the story.
And that we love surf music, too.
And you're telling it properly.
Correct.
With the
You know
right
what I mean?
amount of reverence and all
exactly.
that stuff. So
Exactly. So to me, it was just important to do the story as a black person, filmmaker, whatever you want to call me, as it is as a filmmaker. You know, so that if we ever are at Sundance or anywhere winning an award, then be like, wow, these are the dudes who made that movie.
Yeah.
You know what I
that's
mean?
great, man.
I think that's important today.
Yes, it is.
You know,
I
it
think
is.
it's important today.
It does. That does a lot of work beyond the movie making part. My buddy Rich and I have written several times about female empowerment and conflict zones. We're dudes writing about female empowerment, and it's hard to get attention from the female side because they're like,
Really?
you're a couple of guys. You're like, yeah, but
Yeah.
no shit, we know a lot about this.
Why
stuff.
not read? Why not read the piece?
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is that you see when Pete posts these kinds of things, it's an issue of credibility, just like you're talking about,
Yeah.
because what ends up happening is people start chiming in with their bullshit. Well, you know that you'd have, and it's like, clearly this person did not read this article.
Yeah.
You can tell when they haven't read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's the same thing when somebody's looking at you sideways. It's like, you know, you haven't
Yeah.
started to understand what's going on.
Can
here.
I like the Beach Boys too? You know, can I want to
Exactly.
make the movie? I'm a movie maker.
Exactly,
You know, that's what I do.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, people expect that you're supposed to only like a certain thing, you know, but they forget the influence of certain music and how it translates.
Yeah.
You know, like we're not supposed to like rock and roll. It's like we created rock and roll. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
You know what
right.
I mean? It's funny how that's all switched around, you know. It's like I was telling Scott last night, we were looking at the country awards a little bit, and I was telling him about it. I was listening to a podcast the day before the country awards came out, and these two people, shout out to the Reed, black people always got to shout somebody out. They were like, now watch, Beyonce's going to be on the country awards. Watch. Somebody, one of those white country dudes is going to make a comment about something. Sure enough, they went in. Well, I bet BET isn't going to allow us to be on their shows, yada, yada, yada. But they had no problem with Justin Timberlake being on there last year or somebody else. But as soon as somebody of color,
Yeah.
they got something to say.
Right.
You know, she was pop. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
And the biggest pop star in the world.
In the world.
Bitch, you should be happy she on your show.
She showed up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's funny. And I'm not laughing funny. That dude is funny. We had a guy on our show who is a childhood friend and huge influence on me in many, many ways, Toast Jackson.
Okay.
He's one of two black programmers of a country.
Oh, I
music
listened to the
station
show. That was a good one.
in
Yeah.
the United
Yeah.
States. And you know what? He has no problem with credibility now that he's in his 9th year of doing that, because when he shows up somewhere,
He can get in anywhere. Can't he?
anywhere. And it's
Yes.
not like he shows up with a cowboy hat and shit. He looks like he's always looked.
Yeah.
But he knows everybody.
And everybody respects him.
Everyone's
Yeah.
up to
Because they know they
and
don't have
there's
no fucking career without this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that he knows what's good.
Yeah.
He's promoting what's good. You want to get on his. There's no like, ooh, well, we got to get in with the black guy. You want to get in with the black guy? Make a good record.
There you go.
So
It'll rise to the top if it's good.
That's right.
It's like a script. It'll rise to the top if it's good. People say that it may take a couple years for somebody to find it. The good thing now is we have sneaky ways to get it in.
That's true.
You know,
yeah.
you can just put it on the blacklist. You can just put it on this particular website. You can, you can put it on, you can enter it in this particular competition. If it's that good, it's going to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It will. You know, you can get there a lot faster now. You know, you can get people to read you faster. You can sign with an agent faster. You know what I mean? There's all these things now because you can make your own movie. You can,
Yeah.
like I said, put your script on these sites and whatever, and things can happen faster. So there's like totally no excuse anymore. You know?
also nowadays, if you really want to fast track yourself and what you're doing, you can get on the Screenwriter's Rant Room with Hilliard Guess, a podcast that everybody should be listening to who's interested in this craft. It's recorded right here in Hill Dog Productions, and you should be listening to it. If you have any interest in the craft of screenwriting, the craft of story, the ability to take a human being down a road of emotional turmoil and payoff, then listen to the Screenwriter's Rant Room with Hilliard Guess. Man, you know what? It's no secret that we love to see you every time we come down here. It's no secret that we love to get a lesson from you about how to incite human emotion and how to help people go on a fabulous ride. And once again, for your third official appearance on our show, probably 6th or 7th, actual
By
appearance on
myself,
our
right?
show. Yeah,
Yeah.
This is your third episode that's you.
That's what's up.
Man, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. We love you. We love your podcast. We love staying up on everything that you're doing. And most recently, we're gonna spread some love and say happy anniversary. You just
Oh, thank
celebrated
you.
your
Yeah.
anniversary.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
And I want to say too, really seriously, like if you've ever thought, oh, I want to write a movie or anything like that, you really need to be listening to your show, because not only is your show good, it's gotten so much better. And not that it was anything other than great before, but
It
it's
should
so much,
grow. It should grow.
Yeah, like the episode that you guys did with Todd and Jessica was just you guys just all same business people talking shop, but like having a blast. And I was having a blast. It was like, you're my friends.
Yeah.
They're talking. And I,
Yeah.
like if I would have been sitting there, I didn't have to say a single word, and I would have had a great time.
And funny you say that, because that, and you guys I'm sure can relate to this, because there's nothing planned.
Right.
You know, like us, we had nothing planned. We just sat down, turned the
turn it
fucking
on.
thing on, started. Same shit. I
Yeah.
have nothing written down.
Right.
It's just, here's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
you're
there you
speaking
go.
from the heart, and you're speaking
That's it.
from knowledge, like crazy, like just all the things like people say, I'm going to write a movie. You're like,
Correct.
that's cool, but there's about 1,000 details. And within those details, you have to have reasons for those details. And then you need to throw it all away and write it again. Like God damn, this is really a craft. You know?
Total craft. Total craft.
it's one of those things that everybody thinks, oh man, really? These guys get all this notoriety and they make all this money making these scripts. It's just like any other unsung profession that ultimately has a wonderfully high profile because of how important these things become, these
Sure.
pieces of work. People don't understand the hours and the sweat and all of the things that the dues paying that goes into it.
And the
So-
thousands of scripts I've read.
right, yeah.
Not like, oh, I read 2 scripts, but
Yeah.
no, but
and
thousands
then went
of scripts
and
I've read.
wrote and pounded another one out
Yeah.
in 3 or 4 days, and you had 120 pages of good.
Oh,
That is
110.
Not how it. that is
I
not
try to
how
make
it
mine be
works.
under 100 now, but no matter what the genre is, I'm trying to make it fast.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I have
thank you, guys.
I do have a favor to ask you though, because
Sure, what's
I've
up?
never met Lisa.
Oh, you never met her, Lisa?
No. Can we do that
How long
next
are you
time
in
we're
town?
in town?
Yeah.
When
Well,
you going
we're-
back?
Right now.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But next time we do
Yeah,
it,
definitely.
I'd like to get put ourselves in a position where we're in town the right day.
Yeah.
All right.
Because, I mean, I really want to witness for myself what Sophista Ratchet is all about. I need to experience that for myself in the flesh.
She's
One-on-one.
amazing.
Yeah.
Love Lisa. Shout out to Lisa Bolakaja, y'all.
That's right. So, just to close up, listen to the Screenwriter's Rant Room, subscribe to it. You will not regret, even if you're not interested in the craft of screenwriting, if you have ever watched a movie, if you have any appreciation for pop culture, listen to the show. You will love it. I promise you will love it. And we love you, Hilliard Guess. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Yeah, thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate it.